Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
And I'm Nick Prol.
Welcome back to the show, Nick.
Oh, thank you. I'm actually a little out of breath, I gotta say. I just came in from a rousing game of basketball with my friends outside. You see, during the middle of the game, we took a break to play fake basketball on our Nintendo Switch.
What the fuck is a Nintendo Switch, Nick?
Oh, well, you see, it originated as a movie starring Jason Bateman and Jennifer Aniston, and then Nintendo got the rights.
Yeah, that's the one where the guy jizzes in a cup.
Yeah. It's kind of similar to that, except the jizz, it's on a screen, and we'll talk about it later, I'm sure.
Nick, you haven't been to my house. The jizz is always on the screen. My Wii U is filthy. No, yeah, this has been a big week. So allow me to explain. I'm a political junkie. I don't, even if I try to hide that fact, I don't think it's well hidden considering the amount of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton references we've been making on the Conversation for the past year and a half.
Or the amount of sniffing you do. Oh, you're a junkie, all right. Wrong.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I gotta wrong. Yeah, I'm a political junkie. So Wednesday night, I was jazzed up because it was the third and final presidential debate. Michelle and I make a party out of it. We actually go over to watch it with her dad, who was also into this. So,
cool.
Yeah, it's fun to just sit around and be utterly mortified at the state of our democracy.
Yeah. I mean, this is how democracy ends, with thunderous applause.
Oh, that's a really profound line from Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Is it? I thought it was some philosophical quote.
Oh, no, it's actually poetry, Nick. But so I was thinking, okay, this is the big event of the night, and the next day is going to be the debate. So I went offline Wednesday night. I did my Facebook post on DK Vine, and I was like, all right, time to watch the debate. Somewhere around this time, Nintendo announces, hey, we're showing off the NX tomorrow. And I completely missed it because I was offline. I think they announced it around 7:30 p.m. Eastern daylight time, I want to say. I don't know. But completely missed it. The next morning, I sleep in, go about my business, and I'm not back online until I want to say 4 p.m. that afternoon. So I completely missed the whole announcement of the reveal trailer and the reveal trailer itself. I had no idea the NX was shown off and that it was now the Nintendo Switch. I found out because I just stumbled upon the AV Club, the Onion's pop culture review site, and saw an article about the Nintendo Switch. And I had this mortifying realization that I completely failed in my duty as the co-editor of DK Vine, the co-founder and co-head editor of DK Vine. So I would like to apologize to all of my peeps, all of my marshmallow Easter treats. I failed you, and hopefully moving forward into the future, I will do a better job.
One can only hope.
Nick, we're going to get into our thoughts this episode about the Switch. And I'm going to keep saying NX, and it's going to be a real problem. Because for the past, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years, we've been calling it the NX. And now we have to readjust our brains and call it the Switch. And we'll get into it. We'll get into our thoughts on the name. And we've also got a whole lot of viewer calls to take. So it's going to be one of those episodes. And I'm not, you know what? No due diligence this week. Let's just get right to it because people want to talk about this. People want to get into this. Nick, what are your thoughts on, first of all, the name, the Nintendo Switch?
The NX would have been cooler.
Everybody always says that. Everybody always says that, though, about Nintendo systems. Oh, the code name was cooler. The Dolphin was a cooler name than the GameCube, although I don't know how it really was applicable for an actual video game console. No. The Revolution was a way cooler name than the Wii. I mean, the Wii, you get over the juvenile penis jokes and the Wii, or urine jokes. I guess it could be both. But the Wii is... Granted, the Wii was a huge success for Nintendo, at least initially. As I've explained my thoughts on the show in the past, it dug them into a hole eventually. But the Wii was a pretty lame name. It was instantly memorable, though, so it's got that going for. I'm sure the Nintendo Revolution wouldn't have had the ownership over that term that Nintendo had with the Wii, where Wii and Nintendo were basically interchangeable for a period of about 5 to 6 years. But was it Project Cafe was the Wii U? Now that was a pretty lame name. So granted, the Wii U is a pretty terrible name too. So no winners there. But I don't know, the NX, as used to it, as accustomed as I've grown to its face, I think I'm okay with the Switch.
Sure, I'm okay with it. It makes more sense than the Wii.
I had to tell you the dilemma of a video game comedy writer, though. A hack video game comedy writer such as myself. I had to show restraint titling this episode this week. I just decided to call it the Nintendo Switch, but I really wanted to call it something like Switch Fest, or, bitching about Switch, or I wanted to rhyme with bitch, really. And then I was like, Hyle, control yourself. You gotta pace these things out. You're gonna have the next 5 to 8 years of those tired puns.
I think it's a sign personally, because if you say Nintendo Switch fast enough or close enough together, it looks like Nintendo's Witch, which could be a sign that they bought the rights to Banjo-Kazooie back.
Yeah, because that game invented witches.
Well, Nintendo and Witch, you think of Grunty, no?
I also think of sandwiches, and apparently there's a meme where Crystal
Bayonetta,
eats
maybe?
sandwiches. What, does Bayonetta eat sandwiches?
No, but she is a witch.
Okay. No, that meme where Crystal's eating sandwiches?
No, I'm not a big meme spouter myself.
Neither am I. Actually, it was Joe Mudd who made me aware of this meme that exists of Crystal eating sandwiches. And I really can't tell you the origins of it. And all I can say is it has not been reappropriated as a white supremacist meme like Pepe the Frog. So Crystal eating sandwiches is still relatively benign. But,
it's not white supremacist like Slippy the Frog.
Yeah. Well, he's always, crashing on that desert planet, and I think it's because he wants to commit genocide.
Probably. I mean, he just
against people of Middle Eastern descent. Yeah. He's a terrible person, that Slippy. Oh, we're getting off to a miserable start. So, Nick, you're okay with the Switch name then?
I'm not super opposed to it. I mean, sure. It doesn't sound, I don't know, it sounds more like a peripheral or spin-off type of thing. It doesn't sound like the main Big Daddy console, but maybe we'll get used to it.
Neither did the Wii.
No, it didn't. The
GameCube sounded like a rinky-dink little trinket. Really, honestly, all system names sound weird at first. Nintendo 64, once they removed the Ultra from Nintendo 64, that took me a long time to really get accustomed to. And I wanted to keep calling it Ultra Nintendo. So we'll get used to this. And I think I think more so than the Wii, which was more vague in its naming and mission statement, I think the Switch both sums up what you can do with this console / portable hybrid, and two, it's clever because make the Switch to Nintendo Switch. So I mean, that's not that clever, but it's more clever than Nintendo usually gets. So I'm grading them on a curve here.
Yeah, what do you think the new tagline's gonna be? We would like to play, or
be a Switch hitter.
Switch hitter. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm referring to baseball, not masturbation, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm actually referring to masturbation.
Well, the DS's tagline was referring to masturbation.
What was that?
Touching is good.
Touching is good, yeah. Nintendo's gotten vaguely sexual over the years. I think mostly Nintendo of Europe, because they're more liberated over there as far as their sexuality goes.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Well, No, as you've already made apparent to me that I hadn't considered, this is already the movie or the movie title of a Jason Bateman, Jennifer Aniston film. That the whole premise is about Jason Bateman masturbating into a cup and then Jennifer Aniston shoving it up her hoo-ha. So
It's got to be where they got the idea from. I mean, the TV is Jennifer Aniston and your hands are Jason Bateman, and you just kind of.
I actually saw that movie. Actually saw that movie. I like
theaters?
Jason Bateman in general. I don't want to talk about it. I saw it. It was fine for a romantic comedy. It was actually pretty clever.
Sure,
a little skeevy, a little rapey when you really consider the implications. But basically, and I'm going to be talking about this instead of the Nintendo Switch. Sorry, everybody. Jason Bateman's character, Jason Bateman usually plays a smug asshole post Arrested Development, but he was kind of more a good guy in this with a dark streak, which I guess is the same thing as his Arrested Development character. But he unrequitedly in love with his best friend Jennifer Aniston, and that's her character's name as far as I'm aware. And she's a busy career gal living in a city, approaching 40, wants to have a baby, so she decides to get a dude's semen from the semen store,
like you do.
Yeah, like you do. And as I said, shove it up her hoo-ha, which I'm assuming is the extent of the process. And so she has a big, I don't know,
hoo-ha?
Fertilization party or something. Like, I'm going to shove this up my hoo-ha tonight. Let's all have a party with all my closest work friends and Jason Bateman. So Jason Bateman goes into the bathroom and he's drunk as hell because he doesn't like the idea of some other dude's semen going up Jennifer Aniston's hoo-ha. But and so he's very like mopey drunk, and then he finds the semen container in the bathroom, and drunkenly he knocks it over and it goes down the sink. And oh no, he lost all the semen. Jennifer Aniston is going to be upset that she can't uses this dude's man candy to fertilize herself. So you know what he does, Nick? He's drunk, and so he masturbates into the cup so no one's the wiser. And she gets pregnant and has his kid, and like 5 years later or something, they fall in love despite the clear violation that just transpired.
I'm gonna have to Redbox that one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad. I didn't loathe myself watching it. So as far as romantic comedies go, again, I'm grading this on a curve. So yeah,
well, that's about it. Let's take some calls and get out of here.
All right. Well, first of all, we have a call from one, and I'm going to spoil this for you. It's from one Chad McCanna. He was actually we were going to have him on this episode with both myself and Nick, but he's actually going to Bermuda for the week. Did you know that?
The triangle itself?
We may never see him again.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he stays out of the triangle, or at least stays in the corner of the triangle. He shouldn't go deep into the triangle, but as far as I'm aware, he's just going to Bermuda for a week.
Maybe he'll meet Bermuda Schwartz.
Are you proud of yourself, Nick?
I'm proud.
You shouldn't be. I don't know. Maybe he got the idea. Well, we were talking about this when we were over in the UK earlier this spring. I was telling him, talking about my honeymoon plans of going to the Caribbean. He was like, "Oh, I like to go someplace tropical." So I'm not saying Chad stole the idea from me, but he stole the idea from me. So he's heading to not the Caribbean, to Bermuda in the next few hours. So he couldn't be here, but he called in with 20 minutes worth of thoughts. So we're going to
them all be about Jason Bateman.
I hope they are. I mean, really, he was in Teen Wolf 2. Wasn't he on Silver Spoons? He was on one of the seasons of Silver Spoons, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, the brother of Justine Bateman, who was on Family Ties. So maybe he's going to be talking about the broader Bateman sibling output here. But if not, I apologize if he just talks about the Nintendo Switch. That is not my intention.
I guess that's semi-relevant.
Nick and I are going to go take a bathroom break, maybe make ourselves a nice omelet. I don't know, Nick,
exchange someone else's semen with my own.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Nick, that's every Friday night for you. So here's Chad McCanna. I'm gonna go take up smoking so I can take a smoke break. Enjoy.
Hi, Hyle and Nick. It's me, Chad. I wanted to call you guys. I'm about to be heading out of the country for a week, but obviously this is a huge time for gaming in general, not just Nintendo fans. I'm sure you've already introduced it, but God, the Nintendo Switch is pretty fantastic in a nutshell. Looking at the price point that I don't know that's been confirmed, that $399. I can't imagine anyone not wanting this in their library, but let me break it down. I hope you play this at the top of the show. Otherwise, I'm just probably going to be regurgitating your respective opinions. But first off, let's start with the trailer. Classy. I was totally expecting to have some kind of dad humor riddled Nintendo Direct without the enjoyability of Satoru Iwata kind of video when they teased it with Mario peeking out from behind a shower curtain. Was that like a Hitchcock reference? I'm not sure what that was, but I'm glad that it was a more conventional trailer because it allowed them to really get to the meat, the nuts and bolts of what the Switch really is. So really great job, Nintendo. When I was watching this with my wife, Janelle, who's in the advertising industry, her first remark was, wait, this looks competently made, just about the trailer itself. And actually, then she said, oh, this is a thing that I would want. So, and Janelle is a well-known Nintendo skeptic, so she's back in the fold. I would say, as am I. So, yeah, great job on the trailer, Nintendo. The name, I was worried they would just straight up go with the NX. Obviously, they've never done that before. We've had the Dolphin, the Revolution. None of those ever stuck. There's no reason to think that the NX would, but I was kind of worried that because it's been in the public consciousness now for, 3 years, that they would just go with it because it's what people know. But Switch makes so much sense in the eyes of a consumer who's not otherwise keyed into this stuff like we all are. You look at the Wii U, or even the Wii. The Wii was accidentally successful, but the Wii U, what the hell is that supposed to mean? What does that tell you about the device, other than it seems like an add-on for the Wii? The Switch is crystal clear. It switches between being a console and a handheld device. Perfect messaging, very succinct. I saw a funny thing on Twitter. Chris Seaver said they missed an I in the Switch. I know he was being facetious, but I'm very glad they didn't go down that route. That must have been really tempting for the people who branded the Wii and then the Wii U to call it the Switch. But overall great there. The logo itself, holy shit, guys! It's a yin yang, but it's a classy one, and it's a picture of the two controllers that plug together. Excellent. It's evocative, recognizable, and unique, which is very rare to find in a logo that doesn't also involve the thing's name. Let's talk about the functionality of the device, which is obviously the main selling point. The fact that it transfers from a console device into a handheld. Now, I know there's going to be some downgrading in quality. I'm assuming that the dock will allow it probably gives it a bit more processing boost. I'm really impressed at the fact that they were able to develop that technology in a modular way. I know that people who make smartphones and devices like that have been struggling with old PC style modular design, where you can buy a MOBO, you can buy a processor, a heatsink, RAM, a hard drive, an optical drive, put it all together, PCI cards. I may be showing my age with the PCI cards. I don't know if they still have those in computers. I've been a Mac person for too long. But I know that there's an inherent difficulty in developing a self-contained device at a low enough price point that is able to do that. And the fact that Nintendo managed it somehow is remarkable. At $299? If it was $399, I'd be shocked. Again, I don't know if that price is correct, but yeah, it's really impressive, the fact that you pull it off of that device and then it goes down to 720p, and you could see in the trailer that as the guy was playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild out with his enormous dog, the frame rate had dropped significantly. Kudos to Nintendo for not trying to pave that over in the trailer and just showing like a direct feed from the home television version. But then you put it back on the dock, it beefs it up to 1080p. Apparently the device has the ability to stream Netflix and other video streaming services at 4K, so it's somewhat future-proof, not entirely, and I know that there are 4K adopters. I'm still not one who necessarily sees the value there. To me, I think as resolutions increase, we're going to get to a point where it's diminishing returns. But it's cool that they've at least recognized that there is an audience, and there will be in the years to come for however long the Switch is Nintendo's major console device. I think it's a logical progression for them. You look at what they do with the two controllers, especially being able to turn them sideways to play Mario Kart with a more digital control scheme, and then snapping them together or treating them like Wiimotes. I would have to imagine that each of those things is going to have gyroscopic controls. It would be really surprising to me if they didn't. But yeah, it's like a marriage of the Wii as far as the controllers go, the way that they snap apart and you hold them in two hands, which was entirely unconventional back in, 2005? 2006? Around there. And the Wii U, which they never really executed on the potential or the promise of the Wii U in its pre-launch time. People expected something where you could take that gamepad around with you and it could play even pared down games. But as far as I know, the gamepad is just a controller with a video display that communicates wirelessly with the device that does the actual processing. This is completely different, but it finally executes on that. So it makes sense for Nintendo to be doing this now. The other nice thing is that it really does keep them out of competition with Sony and Microsoft. And I don't subscribe to Sony's Twitter feed because there's very little overlap with what we cover on DK Vine and what Sony releases, but apart from Minecraft. But Microsoft UK actually tweeted out congratulations to Nintendo for their debut. I'm glad to see that the console wars are now basically at an end. But I think that congratulations is also indicative of the fact that Nintendo really is charting its own course. I think for several generations, they have just not been able to or even wanted to compete with the powerhouse and the sheer technical specs that are represented by Sony and Microsoft's consoles. They always make their own kind of music, and good for them. But it's really interesting to see Nintendo take that to a logical conclusion. And let me underscore the use of the word logical, because Nintendo, as we've expressed our frustrations for the last 4 years on this podcast, has been anything but logical. And sometimes that works for them, sometimes it doesn't. I feel like they stumbled into success with the Wii, as I said, sort of alluded to earlier, whereas they stumbled into a massive mistake with the Wii U. And, mind you, that's not to denigrate the Wii U itself or any of its releases, because there's a lot of great stuff on the Wii U. Tropical Freeze, Mario Kart 8, Pikmin 3, Mario 3D World. I haven't played Splatoon. I hear it's wonderful. But the system itself was confusing to the average consumer. But this seems deliberate. And it's surprising to me that I can actually trace the evolution of the Wii through the Wii U and wind up at the Switch. It's really kind of amazing. I feel like I understand what Nintendo is doing now. So let's talk about the games. Skyrim was a huge shock. Granted, it's a shame that that's now a game from a generation and a half ago. I assume this is the remastered edition. I'm a little worried at the fact that the Switch only comes with 32 gigabytes of built-in memory. You think about a game like Skyrim, the DLC alone the Hearthstone DLC and the Dragonborn, that could take up the entirety of your hard drive. They definitely are going to need to make use of expandability. They said they've got a USB 2 and USB 3 support, so presumably you can put a drive in there. But think about that. That would be on the docking station. How are you going to take a tethered USB hard drive around with you on the go? The system needs to be able to accommodate that. So I haven't looked at the specs. Maybe it's been confirmed or deconfirmed, but I would have to guess that it's going to need to support massive SD card capacity on the removable device itself. So that's one thing I'm a little concerned about, and Skyrim sort of sparked that. Zelda looks great. I feel like I'm going to have to get Zelda Breath of the Wild on this device instead of the Wii U. I feel like the Wii U is going to be one that I keep because I want to play Tropical Freeze and some of those other titles that I mentioned earlier, but I can't see myself keeping it plugged into my television when it's really difficult to find a TV that has 3, much less, right now I miraculously found one with 4 HDMI inputs, but I'm not going to reserve one of those for the Wii U just for a handful of games. They already said it's not going to be backwards compatible, at least not with physical media, which makes sense. I don't expect them to put an optical drive in something that you have to carry around. I love the little cartridges that they're putting in. I'm glad they're going back to that. It makes a lot of sense. We're getting to a point where optical storage, disc-based storage is actually more expensive for the high-resolution laser writing than flash media. I never thought I'd see the day, but yeah, flash is doing very well, and you can fit a lot into those teeny tiny cartridges. So, wow, we're back here with cartridges after Sony led the industry down the disc path for so long. It's a little crazy. Mario looked interesting. It's going back to its 3D platformer roots. It seemed like there were some Super Mario 64 moves. Mario Kart. Let's talk about that. I loved Mario Kart 8. I know we talked about it on the podcast a lot, but this one seemed like it was Mario Kart 8 with the inclusion of additional characters. You could see King Boo in one of the things. And the ability to switch between items. So there you go. Mario Kart Switch, and the mechanic is actually tied to the name of the console. So that makes perfect sense. I fully anticipate it being called Mario Kart Switch, and that being the core mechanic. Similar to how Mario Kart 7 had that 7 roulette item. Mario Kart 8 was all about the anti-gravity, making that Mobius strip with the logo and some of the courses. I'm also a little interested in what this says about Nintendo's other, major offering. This is obviously succeeding the Wii U, even if they say it's not. It is. But the fact that you can take this out on the go sort of leaves the future of the DS line up in the air. And it's strange to say that they may end the DS line, but those of you who are listening who were around in the 90s would have been shocked if you heard that Nintendo was ever ending the Game Boy brand. And when they announced the first DS, none of us thought that it was going away. Nintendo even refused to acknowledge that it was going away. The DS was presented to the public as a quote-unquote third pillar that would coexist with the Game Boy and what would it have been then? The GameCube, I suppose. So, obviously that didn't play out. Game Boy Advance was the last one in the line. They've been saying this third pillar thing since the Virtual Boy came out. That was going to be the third pillar between the Super Nintendo / Ultra 64 and the old DMG Game Boy. But that's kind of redundant. DM dot matrix Game Boy ATM pin number. Anyway, I can't fathom a world in which the DS line exists for much longer than the new 3DS XL. It doesn't make sense to me. This is the way that I think Nintendo wants to go, to make more and more powerful handhelds that can get a little bit of an extra boost when you're playing them on a television, and I think it makes sense. I don't want to have to buy 2 Nintendo devices because Nintendo is notoriously unreliable when it comes to having those devices communicate with each other and selling you online purchases in an ecosystem that allows cross saves, that allows cross downloads. It's up to third parties to implement those things against the way that Nintendo architected these systems. And I know they have this partnership with DENA. I certainly haven't seen any fruits from that, and it's been over a year. I'm a skeptic of Nintendo's ability to have the Switch hang out alongside the new 3DS XL2. I think this is the way they're going. That's my grand unified pillar theory. I think that Nintendo is just going to be this one pillar company. The device seems like it's going to be touch sensitive, so they wouldn't lose out on a lot of that functionality. Maybe that's been disproven or proven since this episode has gone up. Yeah, I can see a lot of promise in going in this direction. I love the fact that it has a kickstand. That's something that they obviously took from Surface tablets and other devices similar to that. iPad cases have that concept built into them, but it seems like a much more utilitarian move than putting a handle on the back of the GameCube. I love the snapping controllers. That is so great. It really allows. I could see a future, a year or two down the console's line, in which there's a gameplay concept that Nintendo really wants to do, or maybe even a third party really wants to do, and an additional snappable peripheral is released that allows you to have that degree of control. I don't know what the interface is between the controller and the device, so I'm not sure, how many endpoints, how much analog control you could do, if you could do, 3-axis gyroscopy. I don't know, but it seems all great, and those are my really universally positive thoughts. But I do want to say some things that I'm skeptical about. The battery life, I think that really remains to be seen. The gamepad is horrendous when it comes to battery life. I'm really worried now that, and the gamepad, as I said earlier, is just a display. This thing is going to be processing console caliber gameplay. Maybe not at the same frame rate, but even the data behind that is going to be taxing the system. I know they've been promising a new Pikmin game. I hope the handheld one that they released is not that. I'm a huge Pikmin fan, but I remember when they first announced the first Pikmin back in 2000, I think it was, maybe 2001, that one of the selling points was that the GameCube was powerful enough to process the positions and the status of all 100 Pikmin that were on the screen. Now, I would have to assume that Pikmin 4 would have, several clusters of 100 little characters, and regardless of how fast the thing can render them, the video output, it's going to have to keep track of that. There are going to be games, third-party games, Skyrim, that are going to require a lot much more from the system's processor. And with that concern, I have a hard time seeing how Nintendo will keep the battery life into anything that makes sense to take out with you, going out for a day. I mean, God, the 3DS is awful. I take that out. I close the clamshell. I go to work, and then when I try to come home and play the thing, it's already telling me it's dead. I haven't even played the device. It's been closed all day just so I can get street passes, and you can't play it. Hopefully they've figured that out, but I'm a skeptic at this point. Nintendo, prove me wrong. I have similar skepticism over the device's ability to communicate with other ones out in the wild. There was a lot of promise shown in the trailer, or they made a lot of promises with the NBA 2K bit, where you see two groups of people putting their devices back to back, maybe over Bluetooth or some other protocol, but they're playing a multiplayer game. That it's really sketchy with Nintendo's current suite of systems. So I don't know how they're going to make that work. I would love to see it happen, especially when you envision a world in which Pokemon now, if what I'm saying plays out and they abandon the 3DS, Pokemon is going to be released on this thing after Sun and Moon. How will that work? I would love a world where you get some of the open-endedness of Pokemon Go combined with a core curated Pokemon experience. But that would require the device to have battery life in a reasonable way and to be able to communicate with other ones out there in the world. The back compatibility, obviously it's understandable, but that's a bit of a downside. You can't really emulate DS games if you only have one screen at a time. You also can't really go backward compatible with Wii U games if you don't have the same kind of touch screen with an additional screen as you do. Maybe Tropical Freeze would be a good candidate because it didn't even use the gamepad screen. But
about the say,
I digress. I don't know if Nintendo recognizes Tropical Freeze as the brilliant release that we all see it as.
They don't.
All in all, it's really exciting. I'm happy to be enthusiastic about Nintendo again. It's amazing technology, and I can't believe I've blathered on about this for 20 minutes. I expected this to be a really quick call. So thanks for playing this. I don't know if you guys listened to it in real time, but back to you, Nick and Hyle.
How come he said your name first? All right. You there, Nick?
Yeah, I'm right here.
All right. I didn't know. Maybe you curled up on a little dog bed or something and took a little nap.
You woke me up, but that's okay. I needed to be woken up. It's all good.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm glad you got your beauty rest. You're looking a little tired. You had the bags under your eyes, so does you good. No. Thanks for the call, Chad, and enjoy Bermuda, you asshole. I'm going to be here in late October, and it's going to start getting cold next week. So a hearty fuck you to my good friend, Chad.
I think Chad's my favorite listener.
No, he had a lot of good points. And one point I wanted to bring up with you that I really wanted to touch upon is he said what I've been saying. This is going to be the death of the DS line, essentially. For the longest time, Nintendo has been thriving, even when their consoles have been stagnating and, failing. And granted, failure is relative, but I think we can all say the Wii U was a colossal, stinky, fecal matter, sewage dump of failure.
Financially,
yeah. Not as far as the quality of games. There's lots of good games for the Wii U, but financially, nobody gives a shit outside the little bubble of Nintendo fans or the super tiny bubble of Donkey Kong enthusiasts who really like Tropical Freeze. But Nintendo's thrived with the DS, and before that, the Game Boy Advance, and before that, the Game Boy Color, and before that, the Game Boy. They've had success after success with that, and that's what's kept their coffers stashed with cash. If the Nintendo Switch, I almost said NX, I had to catch myself. If the Nintendo Switch really does away with this portable line and it's all consolidated into one, that's a huge risk. And I agree.
Big time.
I agree with Chad that they're doing away with it. He didn't really touch upon the risk factor, though. Nintendo's kind of going all in with this. And I could see console fans or console enthusiasts who are, Xbox or PlayStation exclusively not caring about this. But what if this drives away the more financially conservative, fiscally responsible parents who buys their kids the new Nintendo Portable? What if they don't invest in the Switch?
And I have a question. Yeah. There is a gameplay design difference between portable games and console games. Are they just going to do away with more quickly digestible kind of portable pick up and play kind of games, or is there going to be no differentiation whatsoever between the different kinds of games?
That's really going to be something interesting, or are you going to see both for the Switch? Because one thing I've lamented as a hardcore nerd is that as portable systems got more and more powerful, we kind of lost the charm of the downgraded kind of sister title, like Super Mario Land, Donkey Kong Land. Those kind of games don't really exist anymore. You would have just as powerful or almost as powerful or on par with the last generation powerful games for the DS and the 3DS. Good Lord, they ported Super Mario 64, and despite it being, a slight downgrade in some areas, it surpassed Super Mario 64 on the DS. And we had Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, not, a couple years after the original Donkey Kong Country Returns. And granted, the graphics were a bit of a downgrade and the frame rate was a bit choppier, but it was still amazing what they could accomplish. And so you lost that whole downgraded sister title thing. And
Yeah.
I lamented that. So would they go as far as to lose what you're saying? Let's say WarioWare, granted they, have released console WarioWares in the past, but it really is an experience designed for portable gaming. I mean, I'm very interested to see where they're going to go and they're going to take this, especially if we do lose the DS. And maybe that's an argument for keeping the 3DS around,
Oh, well, think about this. Probably their biggest product as far as portability, Pokemon.
Yeah, and that's what's really interesting. Would they have a fully 3D Pokemon, traditional Pokemon RPG game? Or
would they continue to make lesser graphically versions, like if it's cheaper to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is something that we really need to watch closely. And I mean, for me, this is the main topic that we're going to be discussing as the Switch comes to life in March. I mean, where do you go? I mean, what happens to the 3DS? And as somebody who does prefer portable gaming a lot of times to console gaming, because I am a busy adult, hell, my God, my DK Vine responsibilities take up so much of my time that I'm spending 90% of my time that would be going towards gaming, writing about gaming, or doing podcasts about gaming, or, eventually twitching about gaming here. But as far as just sitting down in my leisure time and enjoying a game, I barely have time to do that. So it's portable gaming or nothing most of the time. And I'm nervous about losing that because even though you can pick up, the Switch and take it on the go, there is something that's lost if they're all going to be console experiences on the go. It's not the same thing.
I agree.
So, yeah, I'm nervous about that. And Chad really highlighted, I think, granted, his call was 20 minutes. We could have just ended the episode there because he hit on all the substantial points we need to get to. But, that's my biggest worry about the Switch. I guess we can get into our overall opinions right now, Nick. I'll be a gentleman and let you go first.
All right.
Do you like what you see so far? There's mixed opinion on DK Vine, on the DK Vine forum. Never been a better time to join.
I don't have my finger on the pulse of the forum at the moment on this. Maybe you'll have to fill me in, but I'll say it's a mixed bag. I'd say the teaser video was a success in that while it did display a world that does not exist and will never exist.
Where everybody has a Nintendo console?
Yeah. And the demographic is just kind of like the Wii. It wants to be everything for everyone, which it just never will be. But
here's the thing, though.
I applaud it.
Here's the thing. It was not like the Wii, at least as far as I saw. Did you notice that there were only children in one small part of the video when they had that big Nintendo stadium competition? I don't know if that was
not a bad point. Yeah, it's all adult. It's a very adult contemporary gaming
not
system.
even it was more like adults in their 30s. It wasn't even college age adults.
Yeah, which is very weird.
There were no families to be seen. There were no grandmas getting jiggy with it, getting up off the couch.
This video was not just a, hey, look at this cool thing we made. It was like a factory formula put together, researched thing. And I think it succeeded as far as how I'm seeing other people react to it. I don't know if I buy into it quite yet. It definitely was trying to say, look at us. Nintendo is serious. We're caught up with everyone else now, and we're I don't know, we're cool. Which they are cool, but this is
no.
I don't know.
Nick.
This is
Nick.
sort of a gimmick.
Yeah. Well, okay. Here's the thing. Nintendo's been kind of lame for. Let's face it. They've been kind of lame for the last.
The Nintendo of my youth is cool.
Yeah, well, the Nintendo of my youth is 90s cool, which is looking back on those old Nintendo powers, it's pretty lame as well. But at the time, it seemed, oh, edgy. Whoa, play it loud. Whoa, go to
Hey,
bed,
it's
Grandpa.
still edgy, man. It's still cool, man.
Yeah, I still love Play It Loud. I unabashedly love it, even if it is just nostalgia talking. But this commercial, well, I guess it was a commercial, but trailer, whatever, the reveal, teaser, it was more contemporary than Nintendo's ever been in the last 15 plus years. Hell, I'm going to say last 20 years, because the Nintendo 64 is really when their advertising started to take a dip.
So I applaud them on that.
Yeah,
but...
this was... Just watching it, this is everything I wanted a Nintendo trailer to be.
Sure, yeah. I mean, by the end of it, I was smiling and excited. But the more I thought about it, I mean, for one, the tablet thing in the middle, like, that seems to be where all the power is coming from. Like, the docking bay is just a charger. And how the hell is that going to work?
Well, the docking bay is also what sends the signal to the television, right?
Yeah, it's a charger and to put it on your big screen. But how is it going to be as powerful or more powerful than the Wii U?
It's not
as a handheld. So it's not. So they're backtracking. Then.
I mean, at the very least, I think it's not going to be as powerful. I think it's an impressive piece of hardware, and I've said on the past that. I was worried that Nintendo was going to go down a route where they were going to become more gimmicky and
well, they did,
and not have as powerful a system. I said, and this is kind of in contrasting what Chad just said. I was making the argument that Nintendo should just make a beast of a system that can at least be on par with the Xbox and the PlayStation. So at
least we can be proud Nintendo fans again.
Well, I don't know if I'm ever going to be a proud Nintendo fan again. I'm far too cynical and jaded.
Sure, me too. That's why the commercial didn't work for me. But.
Yeah, it worked for me because maybe I'm, again, grading on a curve. But I think, okay, as far as the Switch goes, I'm cautiously optimistic. And I was when it was still the NX, before they revealed it. But for me, even though I said Nintendo should just make a powerful system that can compete or at least be almost on the level of the Xbox or PlayStation, because at the very least then they could court third parties and then still provide the Nintendo IPs that people buy a Nintendo system for. The only reason people still buy a Nintendo system. Even though I said all that, I think the Switch is the most enticing gimmick Nintendo's come up with.
Sure. I just hope it doesn't limit, I don't know. It doesn't limit the games. You know how 3DS limited Smash, how this might limit things,
Yeah, I think there's always workarounds. I look at, granted, Rare's not with them. Rare's not even part of this equation right now. Playtonic hopefully will be, although on those list of third-party developers, they did not list Playtonic, which just means there's no active relationship at the moment. They're a startup. They're an indie company. I understand that. Maybe they would have listed
Team 17, isn't it? Team 17.
Team 17, yes. But I guess this is a soft confirmation that there's no ukulele coming for the Switch, at least. And I asked Andy Robinson, Take a Drink, this when he was on the show earlier this year, if there were any plans, especially with ukulele's release being right alongside the then NX, now the Switch. And it seems like they're just dedicated to getting the game out on the platforms they promised.
Yeah, which makes sense. But
I mean, obviously, whatever comes after ukulele for Playtonic, they're going to be developing for the Switch. So
now the Switch takes cartridges, but will it have a disk drive for?
No.
No.
Yeah, this is as Chad brought up. Of course, he brought up all of our points, so I could just say, as Chad mentioned earlier in the episode, they will not be backwards compatible. So I understand, because you don't want to have something to read disc on the go. It would be cumbersome, and disc technology, it is more expensive now than it, and Flash, has kind of caught back up with it. So we're back to a cartridge format, at least as far as Nintendo is concerned.
Can Skyrim fit on a cartridge?
I think a downgraded Skyrim can. I don't know. We'll see.
This just seems like it's forfeiting it's making everything downgraded just so you can take it on the bus with you.
Chad is more of the techie guy than I am. I'm more whimsical, skipping about merrily through the meadow and painting watercolor pictures of the beautiful flowers that I see. But
as am I.
Right. So Chad could probably answer the question for you. I would probably get it wrong, but I'm okay with cartridges coming back. I was skeptical at first too, but as far as I'm concerned, whatever. I'm kind of honestly writing the Switch off just a little bit because it's not going to be an Xbox. It's not going to be a PlayStation. It's going to be its own thing. But
none of those have any good games yet, so it might as well be.
I was. Are you serious? There's some good games for both.
This generation?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Rare Replay, bitch.
That's a collection of games.
It doesn't matter. It still counts.
Okay.
I am a fake paid actor, so I need to shill for Rare at least.
I have both systems, but no games on either one that I ever play besides Rare Replay.
Yeah, I mean, I've already mentioned I'm a Grand Theft Auto fan, so Grand Theft Auto 5 for me.
But I guess it does bring up the question of like, does it have to be as powerful as those as long as it has good games? Maybe.
Well, and that's the thing. The more I thought about this after the reveal, after I finally got caught up with the rest of the world and realized they had revealed the NX, the more I thought about it, the more I kept going back to Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. A lot of people on DK Vine still have an issue with the game because it's less than the graphical fidelity of the original Returns. But for me, it's the definitive experience, and I had so much fun playing it. That's when I want to play Returns, I pick up Returns 3D. And so I realized, honestly, as far as Nintendo is concerned, I don't think it really concerns me, honestly. I do worry about if there's a place for something like this on the market, and if Nintendo torpedoes their handheld lineup, what the hell does that mean for the future of the company? I'm more worried for Nintendo in the broader sense, because it's to be determined if the Switch is going to have any success or not. But as far as somebody who can divorce themselves from that and just enjoy what they give me, honestly, I think at this point, I've just kind of accepted that Nintendo is never going to be that company again. And if they can give me fun games, I'm not really going to be concerning myself with, the frame rate has dipped clearly in this game. I've
never been one to care too much about that unless it makes it unplayable or something.
Yeah. I mean, if I was playing, let's say, Nintendo Skyrim right after the original version, then I might notice the difference and it might concern me. But with enough distance, it really doesn't. So no. I'm not concerned about that. Real quick, I wanted to get back to the trailer, though. Yeah, this was contemporary, and I'm not going to say cool. It was still a shallow bit of marketing.
It's quote-unquote cool.
The fact that they used, I guess, licensed music, I'm not familiar with the song, but granted, if it's not a Beatles song, I really don't know what the hell it is.
Do your thing.
It was, it was fresh, even though as a DK Viner, I should be loath to use the word. It was vital. It felt like it wasn't trying to relevant. Be overly cutesy. Yeah, it wasn't trying to pander to the kindergarten crowd. It was saying, hey, this is going to be a really cool gadget for the jet setting crowd. Come and get it. And, one of the things that always stuck with me about the Game Boy Advance's success was reading articles in like business magazines about how businessmen were playing the Game Boy Advance, how it was a hot tech accessory or hot tech toy to own for buttoned up professionals who had never
saw that happen.
Never really engaged in video games. And I think Nintendo kind of stumbled upon that. I mean, the Game Boy Advance was a sexy as hell machine. I still love picking up the Game Boy Advance, especially the SP. Yeah. Once they got the SP, once they got the clamshell design, there was no going back. That was it was a sophisticated feeling
Like
device.
Trump, you love grabbing clams.
Yeah, it felt like it would be something on Trump's gold-plated jet right next to his bucket of KFC. It was classy. And I feel like they're trying to go for the same thing with the Switch. And I wish there was something to cover up the screen, because I know, looking at my Wii U tablet, it's the gamepad, it's going to get dusty quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
My Wii U gamepad, one of the joysticks. I called it a
tablet there. Apologies for botching the nomenclature already. I'm already forgetting about the Wii U. Isn't that
You're already
sad?
switched over. But yeah, one of the joysticks has something wrong with it, where basically if I don't touch it, like a character will just move forward on their own. So it's kind of busted, which sucks, because how do you even buy a new gamepad? Like, they don't sell those, do they?
That's really frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you can send them off to the repair, the Nintendo repair, where, Mario with the little screwdriver or wrench or whatever.
Yeah. I missed that. Or is it still there?
Yeah. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it's burned into my retinas all the same.
Too.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, Nick, you've got like a problem. I remember back on the old Nintendo systems, on the Nintendo 64, if you were pushing down on the stick as the system started, that would be the neutral alignment. So it would basically
I remember
stuck.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could have to do with that. I don't think so. It's occurred enough times that I don't think I was doing it each time, but it's worth looking into. But
the gamepad, I get so frustrated with it, because as Chad said, I'm just going to pre-record that so I can just drop that in. I don't have to say it 30 more times this episode. As Chad said, the gamepad has a terrible battery life, and my wife and I don't have cable. We've decided to go full millennial hipster and not have. Well, we're also pretty broke as far as what we can afford in our luxury, so we didn't get cable.
Yeah, I don't have cable.
So basically, we watch Netflix on our Wii U, and we have to keep plugging in the fucking gamepad, because it'll go dead after not even 2 hours. So it's frustrating.
You can watch it on your Xbox One, though.
Yeah. Well, I need to set my Xbox One. The problem is Kinect, Nick. I need to not build, but install a shelf over the TV to have the Kinect properly aligned. So
you mean the Inept?
That's what I've been. Yes. Our favorite ukulele character. So I've been holding off setting up my Xbox One until we can find proper shelving that also won't be too obtrusive with the wiring. So that's a little sneak peek into Hyle Russell's domestic life right now. Ooh. You're welcome, everybody. So anyway,
so what about some of the quote unquote games they showed in the ad? Like, are those going to be real games?
We're going to get to the games here in a little bit, Nick. Okay. But yeah, real quick, because we've got 9 calls to take here. Holy shit. But yeah, the battery life is also what I'm really concerned about, because the gamepad is atrocious, and I can't see, especially since the power is going to be coming from the device you're carrying around. This is going to suck the life out of the battery. And as enticing as it sounds, I'm going to be playing my Switch in the airport.
But wait, about the battery life, what if they release this console, everyone's happy and excited, and then they get it home, and they never told us that there's going to be a 3,500-mile cord that is connected to it. So if you take it out with you, there is a cord, and people will be tripping over it.
Honestly, I could see Nintendo, because I'm sure, that's a thing in Japan. Everybody walking around with ridiculously long cords. Yeah. And they've just accepted it over there.
Crazy Japanese.
Well, it's a small island nation, Nick.
Yeah.
But over here in America, we got those wide open prairies and those deserts and the rest, the Professor and Marianne. So it's kind of harder to walk around with those long wires. No, I already know what's going to happen when I'm at home, and let's say Michelle wants to watch something on TV. I'm going to be playing the Switch as a handheld, but I'm also going to have it plugged in, because that's ultimately what we always end up doing. The 3DS's battery life, I'm okay with. Chad said he was having some problems with it, but as far as I'm concerned, it holds up okay. I mean, it's not the greatest, but I've seen worse. The Game Gear, for example. So, we'll wait and see. I'm worried about the battery life, but I'm also not going to knock Nintendo for something that hasn't been confirmed either way yet. All right, Nick. Well, let's get to some calls so we can actually start talking about some of the game reveals, or at least the game teases, because I don't think anything's really been officially 100% confirmed, even though
that's what I was going to say. Because like in the Wii U trailer and some other trailers, they've shown games that aren't actually real games.
Yeah. Well, let's take our first call. That's not Chad. That's not 20 minutes long, and see what some of our listeners have to say.
All right.
Holy shit, guys! It's ACV, and wow! The Nintendo Switch. It's finally upon us. Now, I don't know about you guys, but to me, that initial trailer, I am very excited for this console, and I hope you guys are too, because going into this morning, I wasn't sure about this. This was a make or break moment for Nintendo right here. And there were so many different ways that they could have fucked this announcement up. But I feel like they did the perfect job of getting across just what this console is. I really enjoy how it seems like it's being catered more to the older demographic. Because if you guys noticed, there wasn't a single family or kid in that trailer. It was all like mid to early 20s, 30s, something like us, just randomly playing Zelda and all that stuff, Mario Kart 8's getting an upgrade, maybe we'll finally see Diddy Kong, maybe throwing a snowman, Smash Bros. No, you guys don't like that, but who knows, maybe K. Rool can sneak his way into this port. And you know what? Retro's game is probably just around the corner. So, and also, holy shit, all the third-party support. Take-Two, From Software, we could possibly be seeing Red Dead Redemption 2 on Nintendo Switch, who knows? Skyrim, that was cool, but what do you guys think? I want to hear your guys' thoughts and just dream games now. Let him rip. See ya.
All right. Thank you for the call, ACZ. So Nick, the games. Let's... he touched upon some of them. First, I want to touch upon Skyrim. A lot of people are excited about Skyrim on the Nintendo, but on the Nintendo Switch, on a Nintendo system. Mm-hmm. But I don't think this is going to move the needle whatsoever. No, because here, it's funny because Nintendo loyalists, the people who wouldn't ever soil and sully their homes with a filthy PlayStation or Xbox console, they granted, some people can't afford it and they really want to play their favorites on Nintendo, and I completely empathize with that. I'm talking about the ones who are well off enough that if they're serious enough about gaming, they could get more than one console, but they're just being up their own asses. But as far as these Nintendo loyalists get all excited about, oh my God, we're getting Skyrim on Nintendo. Nintendo is awesome. And yeah, that's great for you because you didn't get to play Skyrim. But
you got it 5 years later, whatever. Yeah.
It reminds me of when the Batman Arkham games would come to the Wii library. Nobody cared. Because
only one did.
It was Arkham City Armored Edition or something?
Or wasn't it just Origins, right?
Or it was one of them. I don't know.
I don't think they could have gotten Arkham City to run on the Wii U.
Yeah, well, whatever it was, I didn't buy it clearly. But I remember it was a big deal at one of Nintendo's last E3 press conferences. And I was like, why is this a big deal? Because anybody who's not a Nintendo loyalist, in which there is a shrinking number of them, has already played this game.
Exactly. If someone wanted to play Skyrim badly enough, they would have by now.
Yeah, this is just a treat for Nintendo fans.
And all the people saying, whoa, you could finally play Skyrim like on the go, like sitting on a bus. And it's like, yeah, you could do that on a laptop, you know.
Yeah, as ACZ said, it's going to be impressive if something like Red Dead Redemption 2, which, by the way, I'm looking forward to because I loved the original Red Dead Redemption.
Yes, I know, yeah. They should call it Red Dead 3, but whatever.
Well, I mean, Undead Nightmare was kind of just like a 0.5, you know, so... And
well, I'm saying Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah, but this is kind of like a Grand Theft Auto situation where technically Grand Theft Auto Vice City was Grand Theft Auto 4 and San Andreas was Grand Theft, you know, numerically naming anything kind of gets fucked after a while. For more on this,
I guess
For more on this, see Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Brothers 3. But my least favorite Nintendo title ever as far as naming goes. So if something like Red Dead Redemption 2 comes along and is available on launch, you know, with the other consoles, then that's a big deal. But I'm not impressed with Skyrim on the Switch. You got to show me something else. Besides that, really, all we really got were the Nintendo exclusives, and I'm excited about what I saw, and I'm also discouraged about what I saw. And yes, I am Mr. Donkey Kong. I am Mr. Fanatic Donkey Kong Nazi man. As far as Nintendo's output, I'm a Donkey Kong guy. I would have loved to have seen Donkey Kong Country Baja Blast or Donkey Kong 64 2-ish, or, of course, Diddy Kong Racing. I guess it's not Diddy Kong Racing NX anymore. Diddy Kong Racing Switch. So I would have loved to have seen all of those, and I'm not getting discouraged that they weren't on a 3-minute teaser trailer. But it does seem to be that what Nintendo showed off, minus Skyrim, are things that worked for them on the Wii U. And it seems like they're just doubling down on those, at least as far as this initial teaser. And that's all this is a teaser, so we can't really get upset about anything. And
apparently we're not getting any more info until next year.
Yeah, which is really weird because it's coming out in March. Like,
yeah,
they're really, I don't know, they're really flying close to the sun here as far as...
Now, is March a good time to release a console in historically?
Late February isn't a good time to release a video game, I can tell you that much, as far as Tropical Freeze was concerned. Yeah. So I don't know if March makes much of a difference or not. It's a weird time to be releasing it because you're 3 months post the holiday thing. You're 2 months after the holiday gift card buying winds down. You're still a few months removed from summer vacation. I don't really know if there's any historical evidence towards March being the time to release consoles, but, you know, it might not matter. What I think they want to do is have enough of a library ready and on store shelves by holiday 2017.
And will they all be ports of Wii U games? Or?
Well, everybody's saying these are just ports of Wii U games. What is the evidence of that?
I guess there's no evidence other than they don't look like a leap forward in any way and look familiar.
But would it be a leap forward on the Switch? Because I mean, if it's not as powerful as the Wii U, or not, at very least not more powerful, then why would they look substantially different? What's different is how you're going to play it.
I guess.
So, I mean, everybody's saying...
Mario Kart 8.5?
Well, everybody's saying this is just Mario Kart 8 on the Switch, but I keep wanting to say NX, God damn it. But as Chad pointed out earlier, there seems to be a whole different dynamic going on here where you switch your items. There's a whole different gameplay, mechanism.
No way. How so?
If you look
up on that.
If you look at the screenshots, it seems like there's 2 item boxes that you switch back and forth, similar to Double Dash minus the extra driver or extra.
Wait, so they're going to play off of just literally the word switch?
Well, they did it for Mario Kart 7. They had that 7 roulette item. They did it for Mario Kart 8. They had the anti-gravity Mobius strip tracks. So yeah, it seems like. I was talking about this in a DK Vine Inner Circle, $25 if you back us on Patreon. And one of the points I brought up was it just kind of seems like the Mario Kart team loves to shackle themselves to it seems like they come up with the name of the game first and then they shackle themselves to that, trying to bend over backwards to justify it. But I think, I mean, we see King Boo, obviously. Yeah. So there's going to be new characters in this. And this is all assuming these aren't just mock-ups of games.
Prototypes, yeah.
That we've
like the
gone
Twilight Princess one we saw in the Wii U trailer.
Yeah, we've gone down this route before. When they're showing off new hardware, they sometimes have games that bear no relation to that version of the game that finally comes out. So I'm leery to read too much into this, but I also think as far as the new Mario is concerned, this is clearly a game in development. So
it's fun to read into it, even if you know off the gate that these could not be anything.
If I was 20 years younger, I definitely would be reading into this as if it were the Dead Sea Scrolls. I would be studying these obsessively. I think I've seen Nintendo's MO for so long now that I know better. But at the same time, I also think because this wasn't shown off at a trade show, that this is actually a teaser trailer. There might be more to these games than just them being mock-ups.
You never know.
Mario, I don't think this is Mario Kart 8, like 8 remastered or plus or whatever. I don't think this is just Mario Kart 8 with more characters or with all the DLC bundled together. I think this could be a new Mario Kart entirely, and I could be wrong, and I probably am, but I think that the switching item mechanism seems to tell me they're definitely, at least, even if it's built on a skeleton of Mario Kart 8, it'll be built as a new Mario Kart experience. And at this point, they recycle tracks so much in Mario Kart by bringing back the classic tracks that I don't think it would make too much of a substantial difference. So long as we get enough new with the old, it would still essentially be Mario Kart 9. And I liked Mario Kart 8 well enough. I have issues with it, but it's the most playable Mario Kart game since Mario Kart Super Circuit. So let's have more of it. Sure, why not? I don't care if it's still running on the same engine.
I liked Double Dash myself, but
I liked the concept of Double Dash, and I loved Donkey and Diddy riding together. I loved so much about the game except the game itself. It's a Donkey Kong 64 situation where I think back fondly on the game now that I'm several years removed from my slush fund of it. But go back and read that slush fund of it on the DK Vine forum. It was a total existential nightmare playing the game. It was miserable for me. So I liked Double Dash, but Double Dash was pretty shitty as far as...
I usually just play Mario Kart games as like party games, and as far as that goes, it was fun. I never got frustrated by like the randomness of the blue shell or the unfairness of trying to beat single player or whatever. So
playing it as a single player experience was one of the worst gaming experiences I've ever had. But I beat it, Lord. And I beat it all with Donkey and Diddy. I never once strayed from my mission statement.
Good man.
Now if I could beat Donkey Kong 2, I'd have really something to crow about.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about Mario. What do you think about the new Mario?
It certainly looks like Mario.
It looks better than normal Mario, and I'll tell you why. The locations, it seemed to be this western town, maybe with a vague south of the border feel, which makes me nervous because that's...
Makes me feel at home.
Well, it makes me nervous as somebody... is kind of affiliated with Lobo Destroyo. I don't want them snatching Lobo Destroyo's primary aesthetic, or at least overworld aesthetic from
I'm sure
them.
it's just one world in said Mario game. Sure it's
it's
not going to be Mario Fiesta or something.
It's not going to be Mario Lucha Libre, but
no.
I liked what I saw because it seemed to be still very cartoony, as Mario should be, but also more realistic. Like not nipping on Donkey Kong's heels at all, as the more realistic, cartoony platforming series under Nintendo's umbrella, but it's not floating platforms, at least from what I saw. They're like Sunshine, more real locations and more sense of space and civilization, and not just the goddamn Mario obstacle course that I rant and rail against so much. So this, to me, and I don't like Galaxy as much as typical gamers do, because I felt like it was all just small taste of planetoids rather than any like sprawling worlds, which I like in my 3D Mario. So this felt like Super Mario 64 to me. And as much as I go on about that being a glorified tech demo, go back and listen to my thoughts on it on our Nintendo 64 episode we did a couple weeks back. I do have fondness for that game, and I would love to see a new game in the Mario line that does more of the Super Mario 64 style than the obstacle course, small scale thinking 3D Mario has become since, Galaxy, but even post Galaxy with the 3D World games. So yeah, I'm a fan of what I've seen.
Cool.
Now, that being said, Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, and I don't know if this is a new Splatoon or just a further augmented Splatoon, remake, but yeah, like I said, they seem to be doubling down on what worked on the Wii U, which is fine because Mario, Splatoon, and, well, I guess Zelda by default all worked on the Wii U. But I would also want to see new things. I don't want this just to be the Wii U, but we're having a do-over because the Wii U bombed. I want to see exciting new games, maybe some new IPs, but at the very least, some new franchises or some old franchises with a new mission statement, a new determination. Like I said last week with Cameron on our Salvaging Star Fox episode, I would like some more vitality to these Nintendo franchises that have been put in the mothballs, and I think that would really help sell the system. Hell, let's see Metroid. Let's get somebody developing a Metroid. As much as the whining of Metroid fans, infamously put us off a few years back when Tropical Freeze was revealed. I think having a Metroid in there would have shown a diversity of a lineup. But this wasn't about the games library either. This was about showing off the hardware, which is why I'm not being too harsh on what we've seen yet. And Mario did look cool and different and more in line with what I think Mario should be. So I'm going to say this is all pretty good news.
I like the idea of Splatoon being like a game that sells out arenas, like in a legit esport. That's
the only part of the trailer that made me cringe. It seemed kind of like Nintendo blowing itself. Whatever, it's fine. I'm not really getting upset about that, but I was like, oh, this feels unnatural. As somebody who would never compete in a staged video game competition, or a video game competition on stage, not a staged video game competition. I was already involved in a staged video game competition as a fake paid actor, but I was just like,
plus of all the games, that just does not seem like it's just who can cover the wall with the most paint. It's not like some competitive Twitch based like kill fest shooter thing or something.
And also I feel like that's the wrong message to send, because again, that's Nintendo's biggest hurdle is their shitty online capabilities, or not designing their games enough around online. I'm not going to be going to some Nintendo battle on stage in an arena somewhere. I'm going to be playing with my friends online.
And the people were like using the tablet to like draw out strategies. Like, how do you strategize for a Splatoon match?
You're asking the wrong guy, Nick. I thought
you just ran around and tried to shoot blank wall and not get hit.
I still haven't played Splatoon. I
just
know.
Like, oh yeah, you're going to go around here. We're going to flank the right. We're going to paint up the back here, and it's like, wow.
Well, enough about George Michael and the restrooms. So, because he masturbates, you see, he masturbates in men's rooms.
The musician or
the musician, not Michael Cera.
yes.
No. Michael Cera's TV dad masturbates in bathrooms. We've already established that earlier this episode. Let's take another call and see what else the DK Vine Nation. We don't really DK Viners. We don't really have a collective name for our fans.
Nor should we.
Hey, this is Qburn. So, how about that Nintendo Switch trailer? It's actually kind of amazing how this ended up being exactly what I hoped Nintendo would put out. Something to bridge both the handheld and console market, and the mobile market as well. The design of the thing is an indication. I really don't have much else substantial to say about the whole thing, although I am looking forward to the inevitable, hilarious joke about them using live actors in this thing. Thank you, and good night.
All right, I believe we actually have another call from Qburn following up on this one. Okay. So allow me to play it.
Hey, this is Qburn again. After realizing that I completely fucked up my own joke about your joke about paid actors by saying live actors instead of paid actors. And I am fully admitting that I am a hack fraud. Although with this in mind, I also want to get in one more thing to say about the Nintendo Switch and about one of the games upcoming for it. What I assume to be a Mario Kart 8 either port or remake, or not remake, but some sort of rehash of it, you know? King Boo's in it, eh? I'm looking forward to that, as I am a very substantial fan of King Boo and most of the Mario baddies and all that. Although I am hoping that this is the sign of some sort of either Diddy Kong or Funky Kong or maybe even Cranky or someone. I don't know. I just need some sort of Kong in the game besides Donkey, man. And maybe, I don't know, give him some sort of dental work while we're at it. And that's all I really got to say. See you guys another time.
All right. Well, thank you for the calls, plural, Qburn, and the fake paid actor joke was appreciated. Thank you for clarifying after you botched it. But yes, we had already made about 17 fake paid actor jokes. Yeah, we already beat you to it. As far as Mario Kart and King Boo in Mario Kart, yeah, I'm excited to see him back too, honestly, because whenever I'm thinking about my dream Mario Kart cast, you know, these thoughts you have in the shower in the morning when you're thinking, if I got to be in charge of Mario Kart, what would the lineup be? And if you think I'm joking, this is actually something that pops in my head in the shower at least 2 times a week. I'm not kidding there. So, and it's a good way to pass the time while you're shampooing your hair. I've got a lot of hair on the top of my head, so it's like takes a while to really shampoo it and get it clean. So your mind has to wander a bit. Yeah, King Boo's always in my dream lineup because I like individual Mario characters. I don't like when they just stick drones to fill out the roster. Everybody always thinks Koopa Troopa is an iconic Mario Kart racer. I would ditch the fuck out of Koopa Troopa. I don't like him in Mario Kart. I'm saying it right now. Mario Kart 64/Super Circuit did it right by having individual characters. They switched out they switched out Koopa Troopa for I believe it was Kamek at first, and then switched him out for Donkey Kong, or whatever, however you want to think of it. Wario could have also replaced Donkey Kong Jr.
And given that this is the Nintendo Switch, we should probably have Birdo in there too.
Yeah, there you go. No, I like King Boo, and I would replace Koopa Troopa with Koopa the Quick from Super Mario 64. Stuff like that. I want... It's like you could put a critter in your racing game, sure, but why not put Crunch? Yeah. Diddy Kong Racing set a good standard, I think. And King Boo. As far as if we think Diddy's going to be in this game, whether it be Mario Kart 8 or some sort of advanced version of Mario Kart 8 or a new Mario Kart game entirely built on the bones of Mario Kart 8, Well, here's the
What
thing
if
about
we
Diddy.
did see Diddy Kong Racing and King Boo's just a guest character?
Swerve. That would upset me if King Boo was in Diddy Kong Racing, honestly. No, Diddy Kong Racing, Wii U /NX/Switch, the game known by many names. It's still kind of looming over me, but I understand if we do get a new Mario Kart game right out of the gate, it's kind of looking less and less likely that Diddy Kong Racing actually exists as a game in active development, and that would mean Kevin Callahan is the hack fraud. So, Kevin Callahan, possible. I know you're out there, right? I know somebody wrote the words you wrote. Somebody's behind you, even if your name isn't Kevin Callahan.
He has to Google his name, and we have to come up more than his blog at this point, probably.
Well, we found Kevin Callahan's living where he says he lives. So the only thing is, like, they're Air Force enthusiasts, like old men. So I don't really know.
There are planes in Diddy Kong Racing.
There are planes in Diddy Kong Racing. That's a great point, Nick. Maybe if we can find a Kevin Callahan that's a hovercraft enthusiast, we'll be on to something. I don't know. This still hangs over me. I am hesitant to let Diddy Kong Racing Wii U /NX/Switch I'm hesitant to let it go, but I understand that it's now like the odds of it happening are really, really slim. But it was the first episode of the Kongversation we talked about rumors on this game.
Don't let it die. Don't let it die.
I can't let it die entirely. So it worries me as much as I want to see Diddy Kong in Mario Kart again. I think that would be the death knell of the rumors. So
I honestly feel like even if we did finally get the game, you would still keep talking about, like, when's it going to come out after it came out.
When's the sequel going to come out? I would like to see Funky Kong in Mario Kart.
Sure, he was in the Wii one.
Yeah, so you know what? I'm going to say my dream scenario is Donkey and Funky, and let's put K. Rool in there. Let's give... No. Let's not put K. Rool in there, because K. Rool's return has to be special at this point. It can't just be tossed off in a racing game. So let's see Donkey, Funky, maybe Cranky in Mario Kart, and then let's have Diddy and some exclusive characters to Diddy Kong Racing in his own game. And
why not some Lord Frederick or somebody?
Yeah, maybe Lord Frederick, although I don't know. I'm afraid the more we use Lord Frederick, it diminishes the chances K. Rool can return. We'll see.
Then one of the other bosses.
Right, yeah. Maybe, let's see, who would be... Maybe Baboom would make a good choice. I don't know. Or no, Bashmaster. Yeah, let's use Bashmaster. Cool. He's fucking awesome. So, I would like to see some Donkey Kong characters in Mario Kart and some Tropical Freeze-themed stages. But
yes.
I'm still holding out hope for Diddy Kong Racing. And Chad's not here to naysay right now. So, you know what, Nick? Are you going to let me have this dream? Are you going to let my dream die, Nick? Or are you going to let me have something to live for?
You know, I'm going to put that dream on life support just for you.
Thank you. Thank you for not pulling the plug on my dream. For not being like the monsters that pulled the plug on Terry Schiavo.
You got there before I could.
Yeah.
I applaud you.
I love those Terry Schiavo jokes, man. They're classic. I'm up on the news. I know what's happening 10 years ago. All right. We're recording this on a Friday. I made a baby.
You know, like Terry Schiavo with the Switch, Nintendo's going wireless.
Now, I was going to say I made a baby Jessica fell down the well joke on Facebook today, and I had to apologize for it because I realized how old that makes me.
I don't even know what that reference. I think, did she get rescued or something, or did she die?
No, she got rescued. It's from 1986.
Oh, Lord.
I was 3 at the time, or maybe 2, depending on how you do the math. But I also have just this wide pop culture knowledge. So, like, I could be making a Patty Hearst joke and then feel like this is going to make me look really old. And it was cool when I was like a teenager and I was making these jokes that I shouldn't be making because I'm too young. But now that I'm past 30, I realize that to anybody younger than me, it's just going to make me look ancient. And I no longer have the credibility I once had of being wiser beyond my years. So
yeah.
Terry Schiavo died. That's funny though, right?
Hilarious.
Why don't we take another call? All right. Hopefully this isn't from the family of Terry Schiavo.
Oh, that'd be bad.
That would be.
They'd be mad at you for pronouncing her name incorrectly.
How do you pronounce it?
I thought it was Shivo.
Shivo?
Shavo is the bassist for System of a Down.
Oh.
See that pop culture reference thing? I think I'm plagued with it too.
Hey guys, Snorkel the Dolphin here. And I was calling about the Nintendo Switch, in particular, the appearance of King Boo in Mario Kart. I think this opens the door up for a lot of potential DKU characters to be added. And I'm wondering what you guys think, who's going to be added. You know, Diddy Kong, possibly Funky Kong, maybe even Cranky Kong, Dixie Kong, King K. Rool. What do you think? No, really, I want to know what you guys think. Who is going to be in it? You tell me. You're the experts. You run the website. Where's the article on it? Where's the prediction article? Tell me who's going to be in the new Mario Kart, guys. Please, I want to know if King K. Rool's going to be in it.
Thank you, Snorkel the Dolphin. We already just touched upon all your points. I'm sorry. This happens. I don't listen to the calls ahead of time. So, Nick, you can give your predictions of what DKU characters will be in Mario Kart Switch. I already kind of gave mine, but I want you to go out on a limb for our good friend Snorkel the Dolphin.
Sure. Well,
and
let's start with Snorkel. Why won't he be in there?
Because he's owned by Microsoft.
Oh, Andy Robbins. Let's see. Who do I want to see in there? Well, if we're not getting Diddy Kong Racing Switch, then maybe throw Taj in there.
Taj is, I'm pretty sure Taj is owned by Microsoft.
Fuck.
Nintendo owns Crunch.
Okay, let's do Crunch. Everyone wants them in there.
Okay. I would be so happy to see Crunch. I would.
Of course.
I like, even though I want a new Diddy Kong Racing more than I want Diddy Kong in Mario Kart, I think Crunch returning at all would just outweigh everything because I am
That'd be so confusing.
I'm a Crunch fanboy at heart.
Yeah.
He was the first Kremlin to really have a redemptive arc before K. Lumsey. Klubba never really had that redemptive arc. He was kind of an ass to the end, even if he hated K. Rool. So, any definitive predictions, though, Nick? Not hypotheticals. Read the tea leaves. Put yourself out there. What DKU characters do you honestly think might show up in the next Mario Kart?
None.
But besides Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I mean, besides the obvious one. I mean, we never get what we want, so I wouldn't pretend to think that we will. As
Donald Trump's campaign theme goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That Mick Jagger and crew have asked him to stop using, but he has refused. So,
No.
Yeah, I could see, if King Boo's back, I could see Diddy being back, honestly. Intellectually looking at it, Diddy Kong Racing, Wii U /NX /Switch probably isn't happening, at least isn't actually in development. If it was, I mean, the rumors came from somewhere, but maybe there is actually no legitimacy to them. I don't know. But I could see, if anything, Diddy being in it. I can't see Funky coming back. I would love to see Funky back in Mario Kart, but I think, I don't know, maybe him being in Tropical Freeze, though, helped him a little bit. But it seems like Nintendo is just ignoring Tropical Freeze whenever they use Donkey Kong elements. They're just stuck with returns. So I don't know. Maybe Cranky. I don't know. Wouldn't it be cool if Cranky had his own custom cart that was just a rocking chair?
That'd be amazing.
Nah, that would never happen. right, let's take another call.
Hey, DJ Vine, this is Evan Lynn, or musical shy guy on the Platonic game, the DK Vine forums, and Panda78 on the Ukulele Wiki. So, yeah, the Switch, almost said NX, Switch drinking game, take a shot whenever somebody makes a mistake calling it the NX. Anyways, so ukulele will it be on the Switch? I'm sure either the person before this call or the person after this call is going to mention this. So yeah, anyway, so we don't know if the ukulele will be on the Switch, because Platonic Games has constantly stated that, hey, we want to actually focus on getting the ukulele out on everything we promised first. So I'm guessing that we won't get ukulele on the Switch until I'd say like after ukulele is actually officially released. But the thing is, I kind of want Platonic Games to work on other games. I want them to work on new IPs. So I was wondering, would you guys rather have ukulele on the Switch or Platonic Games work on new games afterwards, after ukulele comes out? So Switch or new IPs for Platonic Games? Anyway, thanks. Yeah, bye.
Well, thank you for the call, Evan, and musical shy guy, as you're known on the DK Vine forum, and resident ukulele expert. So, Nick, would you rather see Platonic develop or bring ukulele over to the Switch immediately after it's released for the other systems? Or would you want to see them forego that and just concentrate on making a new game that can come out on the Switch along with the other platforms?
For me personally, the latter.
Yeah.
That way I don't have to buy a Switch just to try out ukulele.
Well, we know it's coming out for the Wii U regardless. They've dedicated themselves to that, but... Good
point. Well, then in that case, I don't know. I mean, whatever is most profitable for them and for everyone.
True. True. I'm going to have ukulele on the Wii U. I'm going to have it for the Xbox One. I'm probably going to have it for the PlayStation 4 because I'll be getting a PlayStation 4 here. And I'm gonna probably have it for every fucking platform it's available on. So I don't need it on the Switch.
Yeah.
If the Switch, immediately has a bigger user install base than the Wii U, I could see it being a lucrative move for them. But at the same time, I think they've got their bases covered. Anybody who is currently a gamer already has a system that ukulele is coming out on. There's really no need for it to be on the Switch. I would rather them start thinking about the Switch for their next game. And I think I don't want them to get mired in just Yuka stuff after it's released. I want them to get hard at work on their next game because I'm a greedy bastard. And I kind of want their next game to be a racing game, honestly. I want them to surprise me, but I would love to see, if Nintendo's not giving us Diddy Kong Racing, I would want to see that type of kart racer embraced by X-Rare talent. And I think that would be really cool, especially if it has some characters from Yuka, some original characters, and some characters from forthcoming Platonic games.
I agree.
Oh, I'm glad you agree with me, Nick. I'm glad that we're not at each other's throats over this, because that would be really unfortunate, and I feel like it would be ruinous for our professional relationship, but also our personal one.
And it would be far more interesting to listen to, and we don't want that.
Actually, I don't think... Have you actually watched cable news, Nick? It's not really that fun to watch people argue. Yeah, it's actually pretty depressing and draining, which is why I felt like I wanted to kill myself by the end of this last week's debate. So...
Oh, yes.
You're a nasty man, Nick. You're just a nasty man.
You're a bad hombre.
Is that a character in Lobo Destroyer? I forget. All right. Let's take another call, shall we? Oh wait, I see. I'm getting two very similar phone numbers here. Let's see what happens here.
I'm Tony's brother, and my thoughts on the Nintendo Switch is that it looks cool. My name's Brian. I think like it would be something bad for Nintendo to improve their stuff, so they get more sales. That's it.
Thank you, Mamechi's brother, for the call. Wow. I that being said, I think I know who this next call is from, so why don't we go ahead and take that?
Okay.
Hey guys, it's me, Lamech, and I just want to talk about my feelings on the Nintendo NX Switch Swippity Swap. So, this thing, of course, I have to say it looks like a piece of garbage, and it is the worst console I've ever seen in my life. No, I'm just kidding. It looks... I don't even know what to say. Very indifferent, actually. It looked... See, I know that the handheld thing looks cool and all, but my worry is this. How's battery life going to be? I mean, like, you have Skyrim, you have Zelda, you have Mario. What if these games take up a lot of battery life and, I have a handheld, but I can only play it for 2 hours? Wouldn't that be ridiculous? So what point is a handheld console if it plays for like an hour? Second thing, of course, is power. How could this thing handle, say, Skyrim with just a tablet graphics card? Which, by the way, is confirmed to have Nevada, whatever the hell you call it thing. Speaking of Nevada, how do you say it? Nevada. I would like to go to Vegas, and I'd like to go to the MGM Grand, and I'll play the Walking Dead slot machine. No, there should be a Donald Duck slot machine. I'm just saying. Oh yeah, back to the MX. I mean, Switch. So my question is, I guess, do you guys think this console is going to suffer from my worries and also third parties? You might see an NBA game or Skyrim, but if those games don't sell, then back to square one in Nintendo, of course. And of course, I guess another worry is that, what do you think about the cost? Now, if it's too cheap, then of course you might have these problems with the battery life and so on, and poor graphics, and it will not be anywhere close to an Xbox One or PS4. If it's expensive, then you have the family looking at Xbox One or a PS4 or a Switch, and they say, well, I'd rather get the PS4 or Xbox One because you have more games on it that are already out, and the Switch just has Nintendo games. But then after that, the parent says, I'm not getting you any of these because we're just going to go to Disneyland because video games suck.
From the mind of Mamechi. Thank you, Mamechi. He really had me going there at first when he said that it was awful looking, because I could see Mamechi just coming in with that viewpoint because they didn't show off Rhythm Heaven. But you're pretty much where we are, Mamechi. You're cautiously on the fence, looking at the bright side for now. And I mean, all your thoughts are pretty much echo ours as far as, the battery life goes. And the system cost, Nick. Now Chad mentioned he had seen figures like $399 or $299, which I think is really high for something like this. But Mamechi's right. I mean, if you price it too low, then it's going to probably have really piss poor battery life, and it's also going to be seen like a cheap toy and not a full throated console. So it's kind of they have to be careful with the pricing. It's going to be more expensive than your traditional handheld
$299 seems fair.
It seems fair, and it'll drop in price over time. But yeah,
$399, no way.
No way. Oh God, I mean that's absurd. That's Xbox One levels of pricing at launch. So I'm not feeling that. That's why when Chad mentioned that, I kind of choked a little bit. I hope that's not accurate. I haven't seen anything on the actual pricing. So yeah, thank you for the call, Mamechi. Honestly, if the Switch fails, I don't know what Nintendo's war chest looks like, but I can't see them readily coming back from this, especially if it eliminates the DS line. And that's really what I worry about, is Nintendo's sacrificing their only proven cash cow when it should be fiscally speaking, a holy sacred cow. And
what if they continue to make DS games?
Then they could, and that's the thing, though. I don't see how they could keep making DS games and then justify the Switch. I mean, yeah, it's a console that you can take on the go, so that's cool. But it seems to me that's just muddying the waters, not having that clear divide anymore. So this is what I'm really interested in seeing. This is what I'm going to be obsessively watching, assuming a presidential debate isn't on. I don't somehow miss the announcements completely until the next afternoon. But I'm really worried for Nintendo. I want the Switch to be successful. That's why I think I'm being so cautiously optimistic right now and trying to look on the bright side, because I think this is the do or die moment. This is their Dreamcast, and hopefully it'll go a lot better than the Dreamcast went.
Well, Wii U is their Dreamcast, probably.
Well, I think the Dreamcast is always going to be remembered a lot more fondly than the Wii U. I think the Wii U is their Saturn.
Good point. The Dreamcast, it didn't end their career
for it, but that not the end of the story either. And I want there always to be a Nintendo console. I back in my shittier days, I would have said, I hope Nintendo doesn't make consoles anymore, and they have to develop for the Xbox. As I've said on this show in the past, I don't feel that way anymore, because that would be the death of every franchise that isn't Mario or Zelda or Pokemon. We can't have that. We need a home Nintendo console so our favorite franchises have a chance. So Donkey Kong will have a chance.
Yes.
So thank you for the call, Mamechi, and thank you for the shameless plug of Disneyland at the end. Never change. I love you, Mamechi. All right, let's take another call.
Hello there, Chad and Hyle. It's Malik calling in once again, and I'm here to give my 2 cents on the Nintendo Switch, which, as of this call, was just recently announced. Now, I think it looks cool, but, I was just really hoping for a more powerful console. I mean, I really don't see myself taking my Switch to the dog park or something like that, like you saw in the trailer. That thing is not leaving my home. But when it came to the marketing, overall they got the message across of it being a new system unrelated to anything from the Wii family. They nailed that, and I'm so glad that they did. But, since it's going to be a console-mobile hybrid, it's not going to be as powerful as its competitors, which doesn't bother me too much. But there was one scene in the trailer that really had me a little bit concerned. It was the part where he was playing Breath of the Wild in the dog park, and the footage, it looked kind of laggy. Like, a lot, like, it looks really bad. No, not really bad, but I don't know. I hope that's not indicative of the final product, because it makes me think to myself, are we sacrificing power for potentially less power? What is this, Bizarro Day? And yes, the third-party lineup of developers, it looks nice, too, but, so did the Wii U's when it was being shown off to the world for the first time. So, let's see how many people are still there when this thing comes out. And the developers, they already make stuff for the PS4 and the Xbone, but if this thing can't supply the power they need to port it, they're going to say, screw this noise, and they're not going to bother with it. Again, it happened with the Wii U, happened with the Wii, it happened for the GameCube, and if history is doomed to repeat itself, it's going to happen with the Switch. And on a more personal note, what of Pokemon? Because I love Pokemon. What are they going to do if they make that for the Switch in the future? Because Pokemon has always been on 2 screens for the last 10 years. I don't know if I can go back to 1 screen. And can you really imagine kids who want to trade Pokemon bringing all their Switches to school? Are we just going to see just playgrounds just full of Switches now? You know, these are all just concerns that I have, and I'm really hoping things look as bright for the Switch when it comes out as it does in the trailer, because I think we could all benefit from that. But you do know that if there is a Donkey Kong game coming out, as soon as that's announced, I'm all over that thing. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Hope you guys have a great day, and, yeah, see ya.
Malik, a pleasure as always. And yeah, your thoughts and concerns, you know, obviously I feel the same way. And yeah, the whole third party lineup, I'm also kind of raising my eyebrow towards that, because I could see them sticking around for one game, but I don't. If the Switch, and well, we know the Switch is less powerful than the contemporaries on the market, so I can't see that being a huge draw for third party developers going forward into the future. It seems like Nintendo, maybe not the Wii U. I can't really remember the Wii U, but I remember, you know, they boast about their partners at the start. Since the Nintendo 64, they boast about their partners, and then those partners kind of flee to greener pastures over the course of a system's lifespan. And I see the same thing happening with the Switch. So everybody's getting so optimistic. Oh, third parties are back with Nintendo. Yeah, it looks better than it did, you know, the last decade, but you know, the Switch, I almost said the NX, I almost had to take a shot, Andy Robinson. It's not as gimmicky as the Wii and the Wii U. It's not as gimmicky as all. It's one gimmick. It's highly functional gimmick. So, but it does hurt the power, the horsepower. And while that doesn't bother me as somebody who owns an Xbox One, who is going to get a PlayStation 4, and who is fully resigned to the fact that Nintendo is not going to be on that same level and just wants to have some fun games, that's not going to be the case for developers who want, you know, some meat on the bones to work with. So, yeah, you're right, Malik. I don't see that. I don't see these developers sticking around. And at the very least, though, at least there'll be hopefully a strong lineup coming out of the gate, a strong game library in the first 9 months. And it's not going to be what happened with the Wii U, where that strong game library took, I mean, close to 2 years to develop. And even then, it was kind of lackluster in comparison to Nintendo's past systems. It wasn't really until Mario Kart 8 that people started giving the Wii U another shot. And by that point, I mean, it was already too late. So hopefully, you know, if Mario Kart is available at launch, that'll be really interesting. I still think it's we're not that far removed from Mario Kart 8, but, you know.
Has Mario Kart ever been a launch title?
No. Well, yes, Game Boy Advance.
Yeah,
Game Boy Advance, yeah. Besides that, no. It came pretty close on the N64. It was just a few months removed from the N64's launch. And I want to say the Wii, it was close enough for the Wii that it scored huge numbers for the Wii. After everybody got it for Wii Fit and Wii Sports, then Mario Kart Wii was the other game they bought. So, yeah. But, yeah, it'll be smart to have that right from the start if it is a thing. And probably more brand recognition than Diddy Kong Racing. I really feel like we're stuck on the wrong reality, Nick. We should have, like, jumped realities through Nero's wormhole when we had a chance. But, you know, where Diddy Kong Racing is king and Mario Kart is this niche little game. Yeah. Oh, well. Anyway, one more call. Thanks for the call, Malik. Also known as the Cartoon Gamer. Check him out on YouTube. He also just did a Did You Know Gaming on Banjo-Kazooie, specifically the Banjo-Kazooie pre-development and sequels. A lot of the stuff that recently came out on Twitter and via Rare Replay and the Rare Revealed videos on Rare's website. So Malik did a bang-up job on that. The only thing you got wrong, Malik, is you called the protagonist of Dream Edison, and his name is Edson. Shame on
that,
you,
and
Malik.
he should have been JonTron, because only JonTron likes Banjo-Kazooie.
For all I know, Malik did squirt out ketchup packets, so maybe he was at least channeling JonTron. All right, one more call, and then we can put this episode to bed for now, because I have a feeling Switch discussion is not going to be letting up anytime soon.
Hello, whoever is hosting the conversation today. It's Karate Joe, and I'm calling in to talk about the Switch, which was a good reveal. I really liked the trailer. My first thought is it was good. I loved it. Looks fun to click the controllers in. Very satisfying looking. Even like the little transition screens were nice and satisfying to watch. Even those, just two-dimensional representations of the real thing. Anyways, what I'm here to talk about is Mario Kart 8, because, as it turns out, they're adding more content to the base game in the Switch version. So I'm wondering, do you think that they might bring back Diddy Kong and Funky Kong, or maybe even throw in like Cranky or Dixie? That could be really great. Anyways, what I'm here to talk about is the new Super Mario Brothers game, which isn't Donkey Kong Universe, but it still looks really good, and I'm really excited to play it. So, looks like it has a hub world, which is something I really like having in 3D platformers. So what I'm here to talk about today is there might be a Smash re-release coming along. I mean, there's Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, Smash. There's always so much hype surrounding that. I'm afraid it might, come to bite DK Vine in the butt again, getting hyped for it. Anyways, I forget what I was here to talk about. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So Donkey Kong, do you think they might put a Donkey Kong game on Switch? That's my question. Goodbye.
Thank you for the call, Karate Joe. Like a ninja, you were all over the place, and I didn't know which direction you were coming from with that call. Well, you brought up a couple points, and we'll just touch upon two really quick to close out the episode. Oh my god, I can't believe we're doing this again. Smash Brothers, Nick. Smash Brothers.
Yay.
Holy fuck. Now, there are rumors right now that they're going to, since Sakurai it was a broken man after Smash 4, as he should be broken, because come on, Sakurai. Really? No K. Rool? You should feel bad about yourself, Sakurai. Shame.
Should have committed seppuku by now.
No. Let's not be nasty, Nick. Let's not be nasty women like Hillary Clinton.
That's true.
Apologize to Sakurai. He's a fan of the show.
Sorry, Sakurai. And if you got that email I sent you, please get back to me.
There are rumors, because Sakurai is not going to be developing Smash 5 in any good conscience anytime soon, that they're going to be releasing a director's cut of Smash 4 for the Switch that somehow combines maybe the Wii U and 3DS versions and adds all the DLC and also maybe add some new content as well.
Sure.
Oh god.
Maybe then they can change the name finally.
Yes, yeah. Oh no, it will be Smash for the Nintendo Switch. That's the only name they could probably give it, but I'm leery to even open this fucking Pandora's box again. It's like, or the Ark of the Covenant, if we're going to go with box opening analogies, because you just don't want to look, because as enticing and beautiful as it starts off, your face is just going to get melted off in the end.
Yeah, don't look at the light.
That's all Smash Brothers. Don't look at the light, Mario. You know it's going to be a lot of building up expectations, and we're going to convince ourselves that K. Rool's in it, and there's going to be momentum, and in the end, it's just going to be a goddamn costume. So, the thing is, we're going to fall into this trap again. I'm tired. I'm like Daniel Craig after filming a James Bond movie. I say I never want to do it again. I'm done. Fuck you. And then a few months pass, and you're like, I could do another James Bond movie. I'm James fucking Bond. And then you do it, and then you're miserable again. Just like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't foresee K. Rool ever being in Smash Brothers at this point until Sakurai completely divorced himself. And I'm sure he would be supervising anything done for this compilation if it exists. So I can't see K. Rool being in Smash Bros. I don't actually see any new characters being in this one. I could see it just being a compendium of both games and the DLC. So those are my thoughts. Maybe they would fix the ice climbers if they can. I don't really know what the specs on the Switch are or what prevented them.
Maybe King Boo will be in it.
Maybe King Boo will be in it, but I doubt it. And I doubt any characters would be in it. Any new characters. If anything, it would just be more Fire Emblem characters. I'm so done with talking about Smash Brothers. I can't do it anymore, Nick. I can't do it. I'm losing the will to live. I'm like Terry Schiavo. Help me, Nick. All right, one more thing. I got my second wind briefly because he mentioned Donkey Kong. Do you think when are we going to get a Donkey Kong game? Not Diddy Kong Racing. Let's table that discussion. When do you think we'll be getting a Donkey Kong game? From whom do you think we'll be getting it? And what kind of Donkey Kong game do you think it'll be? Nick, you have the floor.
Okay, we will be getting the next Donkey Kong game in 2019. It will be developed by Neversoft Studios, and it will be a chess simulator.
Donkey Kong chess. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm weird enough that I would enjoy that, honestly.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Neversoft. Why?
But in all seriousness, hopefully soon, and hopefully, if not retro, someone that understands Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I really don't think retro was brought up by our callers earlier in the episode. I really don't think retro will be developing the next Donkey Kong Country game unless they somehow found well, I say Donkey Kong Country, the next Donkey Kong game. Unless nobody really wants to touch the property and then retro gets back around to it after their current game. The apparent shovel or gardening simulator that requires massive amounts of digging. I don't really know what the hell their game is, but it's possible they could be developing for Donkey Kong. I still think Monster should be the ones who get it if Retro doesn't, since they did such a great job with Returns 3D and honestly inspired some things that were used in Tropical Freeze. I think it would be the similar situation to the Rare team switching off after Country 2. Country 3, that team did a great job with the skeleton that the Greg Mails, Chris Sutherland, and crew team left them. So I would be very excited there if Monster took over, but I somehow doubt it since they seem to be working on NASCAR games right now.
Hey, it could be a DK NASCAR game.
Could be. It'd be Dale Earnhardt coming out of a door to give you advice because he's dead like Terry Schiavo. Well, thank you for the calls, everybody. Thank you for the enthusiasm about the Nintendo Switch. It's great to finally be able to talk about it, not just blindly speculate, even though a lot of this was just blind speculation. But
sure,
you know why it was so blind, Nick. It's because, all the masturbating in the cups that comes with the Switch. I mean, get the hairy palms and you do go blind.
It's a real bait man and Switch.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.